and welcome to another system description video, I guess you call it, or learning about the Cerebreath system. So far I've covered Starlight Plaza, Whiplash Desert, and Lovelane City, and the Dark Zone. That's 4 out of many of the places in my system. My system is very, very large. I want to point that out before anyone questions just how big is this place. I've essentially compared it to a small country. It is, or at least a continent. It's like, I'd say it's like roughly around the size of Australia, maybe a little bit bigger. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Rogues Gallery. So, what is Rogues Gallery? Rogues Gallery is a pirate town that is on the, I believe it would be considered the western area, like the very west coast of my system's little continent that we live on. So, in order to get there, like I always do, we gotta start with Starlight Plaza, because for some reason we always start there. Say this is Starlight Plaza, you go through Amethyst Forest, and then you have to go through Whiplash Desert, past a place called Whiplash Outpost, which is a small kind of market town that is very desert-based. You know, there's a lot of stuff involved with that. You go through there, and you take a winding road that kind of curves this way, and when you look that direction, you'll notice there is a small town that is a port city, a port place. You might see some boats, you might just hear the water, and it is a bit of a walk to get there. It might take you a while to, find your way down, because there are cliffs. I'm not saying anyone can go there, I'm just kind of going off, I like explaining this in a way that, like, if you were taking, like, a trip here, it's like a trip into my mind, let's put it like that. No one can actually go there, obviously, except for my others, but, because system hopping is not a thing, I don't care what anybody says, it's not a thing. And it's been made very clear from various people that it's not a thing. But, I just like describing it this way, it makes it easier to explain. But basically, you find your way down, and you'll find yourself on a boardwalk. You'll walk down the boardwalk. Now, I will say this is not a dangerous town, it's actually kind of a tourist trap, but it's not necessarily dangerous, necessarily. It is a rough town. Obviously it's called Rogues Gallery, it's got a lot of, like, piratey sort of deals to it. I like to compare it a little bit to Tortuga in Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's very kind of different. I don't really know how to explain it. But it is essentially a port place, a port town. There are many different things you can do there. You can rent out a pirate ship and go treasure hunting, which is really, really cool. I've been told that it's a lot of fun to do that, but you need to stay away from certain areas because they're very dangerous. And there are animals in the water, so you generally don't want to go swimming in that water, just saying. There's a tavern, they serve alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks because there are young people come in. Usually the non-alcoholic drinks are, like, very fruity, like, very fruit-flavored drinks that are for younger people. And of course the adults get rum, and very piratey sort of deals. And, incidentally, one of these places, I don't remember the name of it, you can rent the ship that I mentioned earlier, like the ships. There's more than one. And with Rogues Gallery, we're going to go away from that for just a second and mention something about those ships that I keep bringing up with the pirate treasure hunt sort of deal. There are small islands where treasure chests mysteriously show up. No one's quite sure why they're there. They just kind of pop in. Maybe it's someone leaving them there. We don't know. However, there is a very specific treasure that no one is able to find because nobody can get to the place involved. It is a place called Shipwreck Cove. Shipwreck Cove is a very large stone island just, like, a ways away from Rogues Gallery. It is surrounded by sharp, pointy rocks, and it is rumored that a giant monster of some kind will drag ships down. That's the reason no one's been able to get there in order to get the treasure. These are all just things that I was told about this place when I asked. So, just letting you know that straight off the bat, I don't have any experience with doing any of this. But honestly, from the tales I've heard, no one's ever come back from trying to get to that point, and it's actually rumored amongst my system that it might be another dark zone. We're not 100% sure. There's also the Jade Isles, which also are dangerous for different reasons. I think that's a whole other video, actually. But ultimately, Shipwreck Cove is a very mysterious thing that I'm not quite sure what it is or why it's there. But it's away from the mainland, so it's there. It's part of this, I guess. It's very scary to think about it. And it usually has, like, a lightning storm above it, like swirling clouds with lightning. So, when I think about that, I think it has some kind of negative implication or something like that, which I can explain a lot of the things when it comes to my system. Like, obviously, I'm terrified of the ocean, which is why there's so many creatures there that are dangerous. You know, that makes a lot of sense. But Shipwreck Cove, I'm not sure how to explain that. I don't know why that's there. It just is. Going back to Rogue's Gallery, though, you can generally just hang out there, and, you know, there are places you can dress up like a pirate. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a good little stop if you're heading to somewhere like Love Lane, or you're trying to get to the Lichen Woods, or just trying to find your way around and you're exploring. Ultimately, I would say that this is the most, like, aside from things like Love Lane, it's the most, like, touristy kind of place that you could find. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot really to say. It's a very small area in comparison to something like Starlight Plaza, which has, like, or Love Lane that has, like, hundreds of stores and all kinds of crazy stuff to do. It's a very simple sort of life. You know, there's fishing spots and stuff, though. Like, you can go fishing. You don't really need a license for it. It's just like, hey, too many fish, catch one. Go, catch fish, you can eat it. You eat some of them. You know, it's really weird. And I like that town, but I have a lot of questions about it that I'm still trying to figure out myself. Anyway, that's all the info I really have on it. Like, it's still a relatively unknown area. None of my others live there. They just kind of walk through occasionally and see things. And they tell me stories that they may have experienced. I'm trying to think who told me the most. Dominique, I think, was the one who told me the most about it. Her and, I believe, Lulu. But beyond that, that's it. So, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by. I always do. If you like what I do here, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. It really helps me out a lot, especially with this algorithm. It is a mess. And remember, you're beautiful, you're valid, and you're important. That is very, very, very important to me and everyone up here. And I will see you in the next video I make. So until then, goodbye.